Drive west. I'm afraid my follow-up isn't going as planned," the patient said in a gruff yet oddly familiar voice as he adjusted his hat and tried to conceal a small, wry smile. I paused, mid-scribble on my clipboard, and peered over my glasses. "Excuse me, Mr. Carter," I inquired softly, though something about his tone struck a chord deep within me. I'd spent years proving everyone wrong, enduring a lifetime of doubters who'd sneered. "You'll never be a doctor." A phrase I had once taken to heart, fueling sleepless nights and endless study sessions. And here, before me, was a man I recognized from my past, the very person who had scoffed at my ambitions, now sitting in my consultation room under a name that wasn't his. "My name is Dr. Olivia West, and my journey to become a physician wasn't easy." I remember vividly those harsh words from a mentor long ago. "Olivia, you're too gentle, too soft. You'll never have the backbone for medicine." For years, those words haunted me. But I persevered, submerged in medical textbooks, countless rotations, and the relentless pursuit of clinical excellence. I proved them wrong, earning my MD, excelling in residency, and finally establishing my own practice in a busy urban clinic. On that brisk autumn afternoon, as I reviewed my patient list, one name, Mr. Carter, leapt out at me. The name stirred something unexpected, an echo of a time when I was all but written off. I recalled, not too long ago, when a certain Scott Carter had publicly dismissed my potential by saying, "You'll never cut it as a doctor, you're too soft." I had listened with clenched teeth and determination. I worked harder, studied longer, and embraced every challenge with unwavering resolve. Little did I know that fate would weave a twist so ironic it would leave me both stunned and vindicated. When I asked him gently, "Mr. Carter, would you mind confirming your full name for our records today?" His eyes flickered. There was recognition there, but he only murmured, "I prefer to keep my first name only. Please, just Carter will do." His request struck me as unusual, but I let it pass for now. After all, patients sometimes have their peculiar preferences. The unfolding mystery. Over the next few weeks, I began to notice something odd. Carter, as he preferred to be called, frequently failed to mention key details during our consultations. His history was patchy, and his details seemed rehearsed, a pattern that nagged at me. One day, while I was reviewing his lab reports, I realized that he had a persistent allergy that I had prescribed medication for, yet his file conspicuously lacked any follow-up notes about his previous visit where he had mentioned his severe reaction to penicillin. Curiosity took hold. I decided to dig deeper. One quiet evening, after hours, I accessed my secured patient management system to cross-check his records. There, hidden among the files was a note, an oddly typed comment in a personal section of his file that read, "This is not Scott Carter. I'm using an alias." My heart thudded loudly. Scott Carter, the very man who had once sneered that I'd never become a doctor, was now one of my patients, concealing his true identity. How could it be that the same person who had once ridiculed my ambition was now seeking medical help under a pseudonym? The revelation was a whirlwind of emotion, anger, sorrow, confusion, and a cold sense of poetic justice. I remember sitting alone that night in my office, the city lights twinkling through the window as I slowly reread every detail of his record. The digital trail was undeniable. I recalled the day I had first heard those harsh words. During a long, early morning lecture at medical school, a senior resident had quipped, "Olivia, you're too soft. You'll never be a real doctor." I had swallowed that remark bitterly, and it had haunted me, but in a way, it had also driven me to excel. Confrontation and the power of truth. Determined to confront the situation professionally and ethically, I decided it was time to speak directly with Carter. One afternoon, after his scheduled appointment, I called him into my consultation room. "Mr. Carter," I began with measured calm, "I'd like to talk to you about your records. I noticed a discrepancy regarding your identity. Can you explain why your file notes indicate you're not Scott Carter?" His eyes narrowed, and for a moment, the old arrogance flared up. Lowering his voice, he replied, "I prefer not to reveal my full identity in medical records. It's personal." I pressed gently. "I understand privacy is important, but accurate records are essential for your treatment. The note here, I'm using an alias, suggests there's more to the story. I want to help you, but I need to know the truth." For a long, agonizing minute, silence filled the room as he fidgeted with his hands. Finally, with a haunted look, he confessed, "Yes, I'm Scott Carter. But I couldn't stand being associated with the person who once made it clear that you'd never be a true doctor. I was hurt by your success, by the way you defied everyone's expectations, including mine." His voice wavered as if the years of suppressed bitterness and regret were all coming out at once. "I used an alias because I didn't want to face the reminder every time I visited your clinic. I thought I could start over, but the truth kept pushing me back." My emotions surged, anger mingled with a strange pity. "Scott, I never meant to cause you pain," I said, my voice softening as I tried to bridge the gulf between us. "But using a false identity for medical care jeopardizes your well-being and our trust in each other as doctor and patient. You're my patient now, and I want to help you, but you need to be honest with yourself and with me." He looked down, remorse etched on his face. "I know, Drive West. I'm sorry. I was bitter, and I acted out of pride. I realize now that it was foolish and harmful. Please, help me get better, not just physically, but emotionally too." His plea was raw, and though it did little to erase the years of resentment I'd felt, it also opened a door for understanding and healing, turning betrayal into redemption. In the following months, I continued treating Scott with the same professional care as any other patient, all while trying to mend the fractured trust that had tainted our relationship. I encouraged him to join a support group for individuals dealing with unresolved grudges and the heavy burden of past hurts. To my surprise, he began to open up, not just about his health, but about his life, his regrets, and the path that had led him here. Our conversations, once charged with bitterness, slowly evolved into reflective dialogues about growth, forgiveness, and the unpredictable nature of human relationships. One day, while reviewing his progress, Scott looked up and said, "Drive West, I've been thinking a lot about the past. I realize that my anger and pride have kept me from truly healing. I want to make amends, not just to you, but to myself. I understand now that you became a doctor through hard work and determination, and I was wrong to let my jealousy fester." I nodded, feeling a sense of cautious hope. "The journey to healing begins with owning your mistakes, Scott. I'm here to help you, but remember, your future is in your hands. Let go of the resentment and embrace the chance to rebuild." His journey was far from over, but in that moment, I saw the faint glimmer of transformation, a lasting lesson on integrity. At our clinic, I started implementing a more rigorous system for verifying patient identities, a safeguard born from the lessons I had learned the hard way. I also began sharing anonymized stories of resilience and redemption with my colleagues, emphasizing the importance of trust, transparency, and the courage it takes to confront one's demons. Every file, every record, tells a story, I would say. And sometimes, those stories are a painful reminder of our past, yet they also serve as the foundation for our future. The session became an impromptu workshop on building a culture of integrity in the digital age. Beyond the clinical setting, I launched a new blog series titled Hidden Truths, Open Hearts, where I documented not only my journey with Scott, but also the broader implications of how hidden secrets in our digital lives can shape our identities. The blog struck a chord with many readers who shared their own experiences of betrayal and redemption. The discussions were raw, unfiltered, and incredibly human, testaments to the fact that our vulnerabilities are as powerful as our strengths. A changed relationship. Over time, the relationship between Scott and me evolved into one of cautious respect. Though the wound of betrayal would always linger as a reminder of our shared past, it no longer defined our interactions. In our follow-up appointments, we focused on his physical recovery, his mental well-being, and the slow process of forgiving not just himself but also the circumstances that had led him to hide behind an alias. "I'm not asking you to erase what happened," I told him during one session, "but to learn from it so that you can move forward with honesty and a new sense of purpose." He nodded, his eyes reflecting a mixture of regret and determination, and together we took one step at a time toward healing. Final reflections and a call to truth. Now, as I sit in my quiet office at the end of a long day, the familiar hum of computers and the soft rustle of paperwork surrounding me, I reflect on the unexpected journey that began with betrayal and ended with redemption. I often think back to that pivotal moment when I first saw the deceit on that shared email folder, the cold digital evidence that forced me to confront a truth I had long hoped would remain hidden. In that moment of profound hurt, I found the strength not to crumble, but to rebuild my life, my practice, and my belief in honesty. I learned that the truth, once documented, is indelible. In today's world of relentless digital data, every email, every text, every recorded conversation is a piece of your story. And when someone tries to hide behind an alias, when they attempt to erase the past and rewrite the narrative, Remember that your dedication to transparency and accountability is your greatest asset. So, if you ever find yourself in a situation where betrayal cuts deeper than words, where the shadow of dishonesty looms large, take a deep breath, document your truth, and let it be your guiding light. Stand tall, challenge the lies, and let your integrity shine through, even when the world seems to favor deceit. This is my story, a journey of betrayal transformed into an opportunity to reaffirm my commitment to truth, to rise above the toxic shadows of jealousy, and to build a future that is defined by resilience, honesty, and unwavering integrity. I was once hurt by someone I trusted, and I faced a barrage of digital evidence that threatened to shatter my world. Yet, in facing that truth, I reclaimed not only my professional reputation but also a deeper understanding of who I am. I discovered that being a doctor isn't just about healing bodies, it's about healing hearts, both yours and those of the people who come to you for care. May my journey serve as a testament to the power of truth, an enduring reminder that even in the face of the darkest betrayal, the light of integrity and honesty can lead us to unexpected, transformative victories. Let your story be written with courage, every setback be a stepping stone, and every hard-earned truth be the foundation of a future that is uniquely, undeniably yours.